So I only found out I'm doing this just before the race, but I don't need any preparedment to give this guy what I have to say about him.
Hello out there in internet land and on Spotify and YouTube. This is episode 5 of the F1 chat. After race 3 from Australia, I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Sitting beside me, I really don't have anything funny to say, so it's JB. How you going, JB?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's nice to have a race in the afternoon, isn't it?
The daytime's brilliant and sucks shit to everyone else who's awake at 1 in the morning. Now
England.
you know how we feel.
Yeah, we get one race of the... No, we get two. Because we get Japan as well.
Japan's a good time too.
Hell yeah.
And sitting to my right is Longhorn. How you going, Longhorn?
Fantastic. As JB said, how good is this? Live race during the day. Can get up to work and not be absolutely buggered tomorrow. So
Gonna get an actually good sleep.
good sleep. Yep.
Woo!
And, well, this has been a long time coming because, if I'm honest, like JB and I, we've been doing this since day one, but this guy was sort of like the third unofficial guy of the F1 chat, and he's making his debut. It's Barry Enchilada. Welcome to the F1 chat, Barry.
Thank you, fellas. I'm here, bitches.
Woohoo!
We finally got him.
The band is together.
Finally.
We've got the band.
I'm finally here. I've made an appearance.
Woohoo!
I've whipped out my wings and flew down from
I thought you were going to whip out something else for a second. It's not the Halo series, man. We don't need to see under the helmet.
Helmet stays on during this.
I don't want to know what Chief and Cortana get up to. I really don't.
I'd whip it out, but you wouldn't see it because I'm hung like a lady beetle.
Does your missus listen to this?
She knows the truth.
She can verify. She's like the blue tick on Twitter.
Yeah.
Verification. Ding.
Or the green tick if you've been vaccinated.
Yes.
She's like, lady beetle, bitch, come on, it's a flea.
Being too generous there, Lady Beetle.
Speaking of being generous, we just got to watch the Australian F1 from Melbourne. We literally just finished watching it like an hour ago or something, so it's taken me that long to set all this crap up. And for F1 to actually upload the results because they're slow-ass bitches.
This is our first proper live podcast, man.
Well,
We didn't get to do this last year.
No, because there wasn't an Australian F1 last year.
And there was no Japan.
No.
We can do this again for Suzuka.
Yeah, but it'll probably be on the same day as fucking Bathurst.
Well, strap in, lads.
Big day ahead.
yeah, true.
We could almost do it for a late night with Singapore as well. Because that starts at 9, doesn't it? Finishes at about 11.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
It's a potential.
It's a close one.
Yeah.
So, we just watched the Melbourne F1. It was actually a really interesting race. Like it didn't feel boring at all. It was overtaking up and down the grid. The new track layout. I don't know how you guys feel about the new track layout, but
I liked it.
I liked it.
Yep.
Taking out that nutty corner that goes onto which is now just a big straight.
Yeah, I think it and the track layout further amplified the new regulations of look how close the cars were following.
Yeah.
Like I think that just helped cars follow each other even more than the regulations already were allowing. So
Do you think we'll get the fourth DRS zone back
no.
in the future?
No.
No, they were worried about it.
I don't think we really needed it, though. I
No,
mean,
we
you had,
didn't.
Yeah,
We didn't.
Perez actually overtook Lewis Hamilton on that straight without DRS.
Which was a magical overtake. It was nice to watch.
Yeah, especially seeing that Martin Brundle had earlier said that the looks like the Mercedes are faster than the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Just insert Sergio Perez profile face right there.
The only thing I didn't like about it was turn 3, that hairpin, how they've widened it. That was the action for many of years. How it come down, it funneled down, and everyone had to find their own ground to get through there. And now they've widened it wide up. It wasn't an action zone anymore. Like, yeah, you'd come down, and that was where a lot of overtakes happen.
Yeah.
But over the past, 10 years or so that we had there, that's where all the action happened. And
That's
I
where
feel
all those-
like we were robbed of that this year compared to previous years
I don't
where
know.
it was.
Mick Schumacher got pushed off on that corner. Was it Mick Schumacher or was it Kevin Magnussen?
I think it was.
Or was it Bottas?
It was anyone who went near Stroll.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
We'll get to him a bit later.
But I feel with the whole track surface being redone and widened, it's taken the whole street track away from it.
Yeah, it's very
It's-
wide for a street track.
It's
Yeah,
very
true.
very wide. It's nowhere near what it used to be. It's like
Yeah.
you look, for example, you look at Canada. That's a street track as well. How much like slimmer is that track compared to this
is
one?
that a street track though? I thought that was a
I think that's a
purpose-built circle.
standalone. I think it's a standalone. It's around the lake, but Jeddah's a street track too, and it's way narrower.
Yeah.
way
Singapore,
narrower, yeah.
Singapore, Azerbaijan,
Monaco.
Mon-
yeah, Monaco,
Monaco.
This is
Jesus, you couldn't
definitely-
even race two minis side by side down
Yeah.
that track.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is definitely, like you're saying, Barry, this is definitely the widest street track, probably.
They've
the
taken it
calendar.
away.
Yes, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did promote racing though. Like there was
Yeah.
more opportunities all around the track. You had to risk it for the biscuit, really.
Yeah, a lot of the big moves were like fucking dive bombs, like proper dive bombs. So, I think it just forced them to drive a little bit more aggressively to get moves done. But I didn't mind the redesign. Maybe they can tweak it some more.
Yeah.
There's always room for improvement, I guess. But this track, I mean, Melbourne's never really been a track for proper good racing. Anyway, like
Nah.
you haven't had
you're
too many like proper classic races here. You've had a couple, but
Okay, so we're going to get to the results now. So we're going to hand it over to Longhorn to read the who came where, who did what. If I could ever get the
Who
words out.
came? Where? No, we're not doing that. All right. Alrighty. So, number one, first place in the Ferrari, Charles Leclerc.
Woohoo.
Also taking home driver of the day and the fastest lap. So, outstanding drive by Charles there. In second in the Red Bull, Sergio Perez. In third to round out the last podium spot, George Russell in the Mercedes. In fourth, we have Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. In fifth, better race this year. Good race for Johnny, this one. In fifth, Lando Norris in the McLaren. And right after him, right up him, in sixth, Danny Ricciardo in the other McLaren.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
In seventh, we have Esteban Ocon in the Alpine. In eighth, Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. In ninth, Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. And to round out the points for our first points finish of the year, obviously with many more to come, obviously, Alex Albon in the Williams.
See, that blows me away. I didn't even realise he finished in 10th. I thought he finished in 11th.
No, he got out.
He got out in front.
Yeah.
Oh, our next finisher in 11th, G.I. Joe.
The real Asian hero.
In 12th, Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin.
I'm amazed he finished.
Oh. Then we started getting into the lapped cars. In 13th, we have Mick Schumacher in the Haas. In 14th, we have Kevin Magnussen in the other Haas. In 15th, we have Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. 16th, we have Crash Latifi in the Williams. And in 17th...
In the budget Mercedes.
Yeah. That's bad.
The budget rent-a-car Mercedes.
When you order a championship-winning car off Wish.
Oh, gosh.
When they build a car using a nimble loan.
It's like one of those Hong Kong... It's like buying a Great Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the Great Wall thing. It looks exactly like an X-Trail, but it's got Great Wall and it's built cheaply.
It just breaks down.
It's one car NSAP safety rating. Just folds like origami as soon as you hit a light pole.
As soon as you hit a pothole, the whole thing just collapses.
Did I finish that out with?
No, you got to do. You're up to Latifi.
So in 17th, Fernando Alonso in the Alpine to round out the finishes of this race, and now we get into the non-finishers, the DNFs of this race. In 18th, we have world champion Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Another issue with the fuel pump, it seems, so not good for them there. In 19th, we have Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. And in last place, we have Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. Not a great day.
It wasn't a really great weekend for Carlos.
It wasn't. He wasn't on it this weekend, was he?
And then he started the race on the hard tyres, which...
didn't work out for him at all, did it?
I mean, it seemed like a good gamble on paper, but the execution, he just went backwards and then...
Maybe not from 9th wasn't the go. Like, I could understand the back runners giving it a shot, but Sainz, he was in 9th, like... Yeah, it probably was. I don't think it was the right decision.
Maybe the gamble should have gone the other way and they should have put the softs on.
Yeah.
He would have gotten more grip straight off the line.
Yep.
And he could have challenged a lot sooner, but then the tyres would have cooked. He would have had to have come in sooner.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
I mean, that was a shame for Max Verstappen. Like, he was doing really well.
That's it.
And his championship didn't need it.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. Do you want to know how we got to those results?
Yes.
All right, I'll fill you in. All right, lap 1. Charles Leclerc starts on pole position from Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Leclerc holds off Max with Lewis Hamilton jumping Lando Norris and Sergio Perez into 3rd. Carlos Sainz drops to 14th after a terrible start. Lap 2, Carlos Sainz spins his Ferrari into the gravel trap through the back chicane, burying his car and triggering the VSC and then the full safety car. Lap 10, Sergio Perez jumps Lewis Hamilton into 3rd place. Lap 17, Kevin Magnussen nearly crashes into the back of Yuki Tsunoda at the back chicane. Lap 19, Max Verstappen pits for fresh hard tyres, undercutting Charles Leclerc. Lap 21, Sergio Perez pits along with Lando Norris, both drivers taking the hard tyre. Lap 22, Daniel Ricciardo is slow out of the pit lane, blocking Lance Stroll and Alex Albon down the 2nd straight, but manages to hold on to 10th place. Lap 23, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton pit, both for hard tyres. Sergio Perez goes around the outside of Lewis Hamilton down the back straight without the drag reduction system. Sebastian Vettel's Aston Martin is parked on the side of the road, spinning off the high curbs and ploughing nose first into the wall. Lap 26, Mick Schumacher nearly ploughs into the back of Yuki Tsunoda under the safety car. Lap 30, Sergio Perez gets past Fernando Alonso into 4th. Lap 31, Lewis Hamilton gets past Fernando Alonso as well. Lap 34, Lando Norris overtakes Kevin Magnussen. Lap 37, Sergio Perez gets past George Russell and up onto the podium. Lap 39, Max Verstappen retires with a possible power unit or fuel pump failure, his 2nd in 3 races. And then fast forward to lap 58, with Alex Albon pitting on the final lap for Williams, finally. Woo! Charles Leclerc winning the Australian Grand Prix from Sergio Perez and George Russell.
I'm just going to quickly butt in here. Barry, how the hell do you get a cramp during a podcast?
The entire results. He's sitting here fighting a leg cramp.
I'm having to hold his leg up.
Poor.
So sorry about that commercial break. So that's the results. How good was Charles Leclerc today?
Untouchable.
Outstanding.
I mean, even in qualifying, like he was...
He was just on it.
Yeah.
He is just on it.
Well, what did they say? It's the first Grand Slam since 2010?
For Ferrari, yeah.
Where he's topped every practice session, every qualifying session.
Oh, no.
And pole in the race.
The Grand Slam is he won the race, got driver of the day, and got the fastest lap. And that hasn't happened since Fernando Alonso in 2010.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't Norris get quickest in one of the practices?
Yeah, Norris got quickest in
Practice
three?
FP2.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
And Carlos got fastest in FP1.
So it's pole fastest lap and race
Fastest
win.
lap,
Winner.
winner.
Is it led every
and
lap as
driver of the
well?
day.
Did he lead every lap?
He did.
Yeah.
That must be the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Either way, fucking impressive.
Yeah.
And he led every lap with authority. Like,
Yeah.
there was one point after, I think it was the second safety car restart, me and Phil looked at each other and they might have done 2 laps and he was already like 2.5 seconds ahead of Verstappen or something.
He was 1.4 seconds ahead
Yeah.
and
2
pulling
laps.
away.
And we're looking at each other like, whoa, they just got back to
And
racing.
I mean,
and he's
it's
just
it,
pulling
it's
away.
porpoising like fuck, but I don't know, maybe. But the thing was, going down that straight that did have the 4th DRS detection point, you could see it porpoising, and then as soon as they hit the brakes, it stops.
Evened out, yeah.
Yeah, it settled down.
Yeah.
And that was the most porpoising we've seen from the Ferrari
Yeah.
in a race.
And
so
yet,
far.
in I think it was qualifying, the Mercedes was even worse with the porpoising, but it was still porpoising even under brakes.
Yeah, but it seemed to have solved most of its issues.
They did some work on it last night, I think.
By the time the race got around, it
Yeah.
wasn't bouncing anywhere
Yeah.
as much.
Like, you look at Hamilton's head going down that straight. It looked like Mia Khalifa's head on Pornhub on a good day. It's
was
absolutely
bouncing, wasn't it?
ridiculous. The amount it was bouncing, it was crazy. It was like a jackhammer on steroids.
Yeah.
I feel
I think-
sorry for it.
I think during the race, I was sitting there looking at Leclerc's car porpoising, and I was just like, I can imagine other things I'd really enjoy doing that.
Oh.
It can't.
And it includes Eva Green.
We're going to have to stop the podcast again. Another commercial.
Toilet break.
Chuck a milkshake in the cockpit. Protein shake.
That should be the challenge. Which F1 car can get around with a milkshake in their cockpit the best?
These messages are brought to you by the Man Shake.
Could chuck in a load of washing in there and just it'd be done by the end of the
It'd be
day.
dry by the time you finish it.
But I mean, the Maccas really came good today.
Yes, they did. They had a track that suited them, obviously. Little bummed they didn't get to directly challenge the Mercedes. They were sort of there or thereabouts.
They looked like they were going to,
The
hey,
whole
and I
race,
was
and then-
excited for it. And then it just, that stalemated, that 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
it just did nothing, didn't it? It just,
Yeah, they just sat
Sat
there.
there.
But you know what? Much needed points.
Yeah.
Although, as Lando said, they've fixed nothing.
Yeah.
It's just track specific, and now they're going to Imola, which, is a different track again. They struggled there last year. They're probably going to struggle again this year too.
what tracks do you have for them if this track is a thing to go by that they're going to perform decently?
They've been good at Austria.
Yep.
Fuck. I don't know. I guess
It's pretty much it. You need a lot more longer, faster corners than
Yeah,
what
maybe
you do
Spa.
short ones.
Maybe Spa.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't think they'll do so well at those tracks and Monza because that Mercedes donkey, despite... okay, here we go. I've got to do a bit of a rant here. So you've got this F1 channel called The Race. And yesterday after qualifying, you had Paul di Resta and who's Simon, whatever his fucking name is. And they're all sitting there saying, once Mercedes solves the porpoising problem, they'll be fighting back for championships and shit at the front. And then Martin Brundle, the genius, says what the rest of the world is saying, which is, I still think the Mercedes power unit is the 3rd fastest out of all the power units. That said, I think on those faster tracks, the McLarens are going to suffer because the power unit isn't up to snuff. It's not a McLaren issue. It's a Mercedes power unit issue.
Yeah, but that said, I mean, the Mercedes power unit, the Mercedes works team finished ahead of them today.
Yeah, but I mean, they were a country mile behind the Red Bulls and the Ferraris.
Yeah, they were. Not really. I mean,
I
behind
think
the Red Bulls, but
Perez finished 20
Ferrari.
seconds behind Leclerc.
I honestly think the track that's going to work towards McLaren is Azerbaijan. I think that's
Azerbaijan.
going to work towards their car.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, there's a bunch of tracks that could work. Or could. It's just a development race now.
And I think Singapore will work to their benefit.
Yeah, possibly. We'll have to. Time will tell.
What
I don't
about
know.
Suzuka? Suzuka's got a lot of long sweeping corners like Australia has, and a lot of short ones.
Yeah.
If you add them all up, they're all like come to Australia and Suzuka. They're pretty similar.
Yeah.
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 With their
I don't
tight
know.
corner, the
But
amount
will
of
they
tight
suffer in
corners
the
and
short corner stuff too much that the long corner stuff won't gain them that advantage, if that makes sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Well,
of
you
slow
look at-
corners
yeah.
there too.
you look at the first quarter of the track of Suzuka, and they're all long, quick sweepers.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a potential strength. But, I mean, that could be a potential strength for everyone else as well. I mean, the Ferraris are going to be strong. The Red Bulls will be strong
Yeah,
at a circuit like
The
that.
Ferraris look dominant at the
Yeah.
moment. Dominant.
Despite-
Despite, I would call it.
Utterly.
Despite
Charles Leclerc in particular, but Ferrari looked dominant.
Despite the fact, I kind of have the feeling that the Red Bull power unit is the faster of the two power units,
yeah, but
but it's unreliable.
too
And I was
unreliable, as we
saying
can
that
see.
in pre-season. What's going to seal the fate of Max Verstappen is that power unit's reliability.
And I think it already has, if I'm honest. That's 2 DNFs.
That's 2 out of 3
was
races.
it
Yeah.
was it the fuel pump, or you said some sort? They said
They
fluids
did.
like hydraulic fluids.
It was
Yeah,
the
that-
fuel pump the first time, and they think it's the fuel pump again, but they haven't
Yeah.
officially said
Because
it.
they
yet.
said they're not going to pull it apart until they take it back to Milton Keynes on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. The biggest wank factor that made me so furious, I was like, fuck your head up, you stupid wanker, was Hamilton behind Russell going,
Oh,
you've put me in a bad spot.
yeah, that was annoying, wasn't it?
It's like, are you serious?
He even started whinging when, like, you know, Russell got lucky with the first safety car.
Yeah.
And Hamilton just got, tiny bit, or not even unlucky, he just didn't get as much luck as Russell did. And straight away, he's, like, whinging on the radio. Like, oh, so what, I'm lower position now? It's like, mate, your team didn't plan that. Like, that is just luck
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
race,
it's just
which
bad
happens
luck.
in
It
the
wasn't
Formula
the-
1.
It wasn't Latifi that crashed out again, mate.
For the first time forever.
Yeah, for the first time in the last 4 races, actually. Yeah.
The whole team's going to buy him drinks, be like, we don't have to repair your car, finally.
Well, they did have to in quali, so I wouldn't count him out just yet.
But, I mean, I got to say, like, Bottas did really well. Ocon did really well. Albon.
Oh, mate.
Albon, like, if Leclerc didn't win Driver of the Day, Albon should have.
Well, I'm just going to ask everyone. I'm going to start asking this every race. But I'll start with you, JB. Who was your driver of the day?
Charles Leclerc. I mean, he was flawless. But
Yep.
outside of the obvious answer, it probably was Alex Albon.
Yep. Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah, same with me.
Yep. So, and
Yeah,
Barry?
no, I'm pretty much the same, yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm exactly the same. Obviously, Charles was outstanding, but I did vote for Albon because to me, I just thought he come from last. He's in a Williams. To pull 56 laps on those hard tyres and keep cars behind him on a lot fresher tyres and to pull in our first points of the season, to me, I was like, that's my vote. Because, I mean, as much as it was a good race by Charles, I always look at it like if you've got the most dominant car, you should be doing what you're doing. And
Yeah.
obviously, he's doing that, but, to me, I go,
Yeah.
someone like Albon to gain 10 spots and do what he did gets my vote.
One thing that... Oh, sorry to cut you off. You go.
So, was that something to do with luck or the fact with time on his side
It was,
that he ended up there after going so many laps?
it was just a good strategy call.
Because
They were planning on going long, and then they just couldn't find a gap for him to stop him.
Yeah.
Because with all those safety cars and everything like that, and then where he's at now, like, is that Williams actually showing some speed that we don't really see during the race?
I think that
Or-
was more... They took advantage of everyone else coming in,
and they kept going. And
and they kept going. And
Albon-
they took a chance.
yeah. And Albon said after the race, he said the tyres just started to keep feeling all right, and as the fuel load got lower, he was able to just keep that pace, just on pace with everyone else that was behind him. If that,
I also think that might be sort of the mantra that the team's got brought in from Jost Capito.
Yeah, I said this earlier. I said Jos is going to look for avenues where he's looking at it like, hey, we're already at the bottom, so we're going to take chances on things that might get us 10th out. If they had have pitted during the safety car or whatever else, we don't finish in the points today if we didn't take this gamble like they did. And it paid off today. Other days it might fail spectacularly, but I would rather them take that punt than play it safe and finish 17th anyway.
Well, I mean, they've got more points now than Aston Martin does.
And they'll probably have more points than Aston Martin get for the year because Stroll's one of their drivers, which we'll get into later. And Vettel didn't look it on it this weekend. It wasn't a good weekend, but I mean, that Aston Martin just doesn't look like it's
I
doing
still
anything.
maintain I think Vettel's going to pull the pin at the end of the season.
I think he will too.
Talking about Vettel, well, with the Mercedes as well, So you know how they're having trouble with their porpoising, and it has to do with the Venturi flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do they all have the same floor base, or do they have free reign like they do with the rest of the car?
So Aston Martin and Williams both have the same rear and front suspension and power unit as the Mercedes. But everything else, like the floor and that, they've got to design it themselves.
Yeah, because I was watching it today. Good old Larko in the V8s. He finally explained something decent, and he was explaining the whole porpoising effect. And it's about the whole air not being shot out the back of the Venturi tunnels correctly how it is. So it creates the car to bounce up and down, and it traps the air. So it cancels out the Venturi, so the car will raise back up, but then it will catch again and drop down. That's the whole porpoising.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if Hamilton's having that trouble, and then with Vettel's crash yesterday, and they lifted the car up high enough that you can see underneath it, wouldn't you turn around and be Mercedes and that, and Toto Wolff go, well, they don't have porpoising like we do. Is there any way we can try and copy their undercarriage?
Well, that's what Mercedes have done. They've raised the ride height of the car to try and combat the porpoising. But because the ride height is so high, it's affecting the aerodynamics of the car.
Yeah, now the car's got drag.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And that's why, even though they've got the third fastest power unit out of the lot, they're still lagging in speed because they've raised the ride height, so there's a lot more air going underneath it. So there's a lot more space, and it's dragging the car aerodynamically.
Well, didn't we see it on the straights, Phil? They're lagging about 15 k's even without DRS.
Yeah, well, when I think it was
Perez.
Hamilton... Perez and Hamilton, and...
When Perez was in tail of Hamilton trying to get him, we were watching him on the straights, and Perez was getting up to, was it
302 kilometres.
Yeah, and Hamilton was... barely-
288.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way he went past him, anyone would think he had DRS happening.
Yeah.
The way he
Just
flew
sailed
past him,
past
it was
him.
crazy.
That's right, yeah.
So, but if Mercedes is having that problem, why isn't Ferrari the same with the speed? They've still got the same porpoising, so why aren't they losing so much
Because I think
speed?
Ferrari's got a better power unit, and also their drivers are suffering from the porpoising, but they've figured out how to make the porpoising only happen until they stomp on the brakes.
Yeah, it's only happening at top speed down the straights.
And don't forget too, like this is a street circuit, so it is going to be bumpy. They might have resurfaced it, but it is going to be bumpy.
Yeah.
So it's going to accentuate the porpoising even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going
But-
to see the same thing at Monaco and Azerbaijan and even at Singapore.
Yeah. Yeah, but beyond that as well, this is the first time we've seen Ferrari really porpoising for the 3 races.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Like, Mercedes have been porpoising since fucking pre-season testing.
And during the, I think it was during qualifying, they actually had the camera inside of Carlos Sainz's helmet. And the porpoising in that Ferrari is violent.
Yeah.
And Martin Brundle was even saying on commentary, he's like, I'm amazed they can see where their braking point is with how much it's porpoising. And then he hits the brakes and it levels out and you can see exactly where you've got to go. So it's almost like it's memory. You got to play memory with it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to the news stories, and then we're going to debut a new segment. So I've only got really one news story, but it's broken off into like 2 parts. So this news story is coming out of Europe, that the Volkswagen Group, which is the parent company of Audi and Porsche,
Das Auto.
has confirmed that they are going to allow, that they're going to enter Formula One as an engine supplier. Here's where it splits off, is that they've actually said that they want Audi and Porsche as 2 separate entities to be engine suppliers.
Right.
So Audi and Porsche, they're not working on the same engine. They're going to be working on separate power units, and they're not allowed to take any info from the other mob. So Audi can't get any info from Porsche and vice versa. So what are your thoughts on that so far?
Can I just quickly say, did I hear another rumour correctly as well, that Audi has put in a bid to buy McLaren?
I'll get to that.
Okay, sorry. Not too bad.
So what are your thoughts on Audi and Porsche being separate entities coming into F1?
Awesome. It's exactly what we talked about
More.
earlier. We want more the better and more competition, and I'm all for it.
I'm happy with it. I don't know why they don't just put a whole team in themselves. You look at Le Mans, you look at Formula E. Formula E, both of them are already racing in there. They both have top cars. Porsche won the other week. And then even in Le Mans, they can both produce an amazing car with everything. So instead of just throwing out engines, why don't they put their own backing team in there?
I think it's a bit too much of an investment for them so far.
At this stage.
But
They were going to wait until after 2026 too, weren't they?
yeah,
They-
they're coming in at 2026.
They wanted some regulations changed and signed
Yeah.
off on before they agreed to it,
Yeah, which I think have been agreed on.
which was the heat unit.
Yeah, the MGUH is being ditched, and
Yeah.
there's going to be more power generated by the electronic element.
Yeah.
Which everyone wanted, I think, as well. Right?
I think the only mob that didn't want that was, a surprise, Mercedes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the broad crux of it. Now there was a report, but it got denied, that Audi had put in a bid to buy a stake of McLaren, and for McLaren in 2026 to be the Audi Works team, but still called McLaren, so it'll be McLaren Audi, kind of like what they had with Mercedes in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it going through with McLaren?
So that would break them away from Mercedes, and they would be
Yep.
Audi reliant on their engines.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that would make them, as we've discussed in our last pod, that would make them the A team for Audi in terms of they're getting. I mean, McLaren are already a team that only relies on the power unit, so they do everything
Yep.
else themselves, which is good. But I guess this would then make them everything on their own in a sense.
Yeah,
As
just
in,
about.
they'd be the A team for one engine supply, and they would everything else do themselves. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm always for teams trying to get out of other teams that are in the grid's wing. But I would be interested to know JB's thoughts on this because he's obviously a McLaren supporter. So
Yeah, no, I guess it depends on the logistics of the whole deal. What they actually want to do with the team. Audi put their bid in too when McLaren were financially in big trouble last year with the COVID shutdown. They lost a lot of money.
because this was their second bid, I believe, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure Zach Brown has basically just denied the bid because he got some backing from some new sponsors. But I don't know. I guess it's all up on Zach and what he wants to do. I feel like the relationship with Mercedes is good enough for the moment as to where they're probably not looking at jumping ship to anyone else. But, I mean, if they do, then I guess, you can't really go wrong with Audi. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's up to them.
I mean, if they're going to jump out of Mercedes, it'd have to be for an offer like this for a new supplier to be their,
Yeah.
sole team.
But here's where it gets complicated. It was actually confirmed yesterday that it's not happening, and that Audi their bid for McLaren again has been denied.
Yeah.
So why don't Audi look at putting in their own factory team?
Well, I was going to ask, where should Audi go now?
Williams.
Yeah. What do you
Any chance Williams can get out of Mercedes, they should jump on that.
what do
And
you
that would be the next best prestige team
what do you-
Alpha?
to
what-
go for.
What are
What
your
about
thoughts,
Alpha?
Barry?
What about Alpha? Alfa Romeo.
Well, Alfa Romeo, their parent company kind of owns like 10% of Ferrari, or has 10%.
I was going to
of
say,
Ferrari.
is Alfa Romeo and Ferrari, are they enticed together, like manufacturer-wise?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll explain everything. But
not as tightly as Ferrari and Haas, because Haas actually has their manufacturing base at Maranello now.
yeah,
Like they buy Dallara chassis, but they have a lot of ex-Ferrari personnel. Like the guy who designs their car, Simone Resta, or Simone Resta, I think his name is. He was the guy who used to design Ferrari's cars, and then Ferrari, to get under the salary cap, gave him to Haas.
does, like, outside of the box again, with the Le Mans cars, are they combustion engine and electric as
They're
well?
hybrid engines. Yeah.
They're both the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, righto.
The Le Mans engine's different. They don't have the heat unit They're just a
Do they
hybrid
still have
engine.
Curse as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
They-
they've still got all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the way I was thinking of, instead of going Audi with these things, is why not go Porsche? You look at Porsche and you look at their electric unit cars that they've got. They're almost as quick as a Tesla. And Porsche's always, like, throughout the years, they've got the experience to throw a good race car at a series.
Yeah.
So,
I'll get to Porsche in a second.
all right, well, off you go. We'll continue with Audi then.
So yeah, I think that Audi should go to Williams. I think Williams, and the thing is, Williams just signed a deal with Mercedes where they're going to be like their B team for the next couple of years.
Side.
It's like, God.
I tell you what, if we get to 2026 or the end of this deal that they've signed with Mercedes, and Williams still aren't looking to move into somewhere else and still want to just be Mercedes nut huggers, then I don't know. I might have to reconsider my choice of who I'm following because I'm just not interested in being a B team.
They might as
follower.
well rebrand the entire team as Venturi or something,
Yeah.
and put Susie Wolf as team principal.
Even my dad, who's watched Formula One most of his life, seen me today with my shirt on and was like, Williams? And I was like, yeah. He's like, Williams? You know, looking at me. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, they haven't won a race. I'm like, I know, a long bloody time. I'm like, but, you know, you jump on and one day we come back to glory, it's going to be great. But
Absolutely.
as
then
long as they've got the wanting to be that, like the aspirations to be that, you know. But again, you got to get out of Mercedes umbrella.
Which then leads me to Porsche. So Barry was mentioning Porsche before. Porsche is going in as a separate engine supplier. And apparently the deal is all but signed that from 2026, Red Bull is going and AlphaTauri are going to be running factory Porsche engines
Wow, that's huge.
as the works team.
So what happens to Red Bull powertrains?
They
Well, I mean, what happens is Red Bull, but
Yeah.
so they're just going to ditch their own.
they
thing and go
because they actually own the IP on that power unit, so they can give it the schematics of it to Porsche and say,
Work on that.
here's your base, go nuts.
Yeah.
Not that I think Porsche really needs it. I mean, if they're kicking ass in endurance, then in Le Mans, why the hell would they want the RBR power unit schematics if they're like, well, we've got something that's dynamite in the back anyway?
Because it's slightly different. I mean, yeah, the setup will be different.
Yeah.
But it's not like they don't know how hybrid technology works.
Yeah.
Like, both of those teams, both Audi and Porsche are very familiar with the hybrid system. So, you know, both of those teams coming into Formula One's, no one's really losing out.
Well, I have this sneaking suspicion Honda's going to rejoin.
I think they'll want to.
I just think,
Surely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I mean, especially if they've been rebranded as Red Bull powertrains and then Red Bull go to Porsche, which means Honda won't be on the grid in any capacity.
and I mean, if if Red Bull is still competitive, like really competitive, until say 2025, using the design they got from Honda's going to sit there and say, "Oh, it's still us. We should give it another go."
Yeah.
So is that where Honda looks at putting in their own factory team?
No, I think they'll make a bid and try and get back in with Red Bull Racing
Yeah.
and AlphaTauri, which then means Porsche will have to find another team to develop engines for.
So who do we just said we'd like to see Williams go to Audi. If these two come in 2026 with the current teams on the grid, who would we like to see make a play at either of these engine suppliers?
Probably Aston Martin.
I'd like
definitely.
to see Williams get Audi, and I think I kind of agree with Barry that Alfa Romeo should go for Porsche.
Yep.
But there is another thing that we haven't factored in. Like, we're counting the current teams. It's all but signed, sealed, and delivered that Andretti Motorsport's going to be in. And I think Andretti's going to go for Porsche.
Yeah, I think so too.
It'd be good to have a new team and a new engine supplier,
And
like as a
apparently-
package.
According to Stefano Domenicali, he's had about 4 different teams say we want in on F1, like brand
Really?
new teams.
We'll extend
That's
the grid.
great. Yeah.
Extend the
But
grid, and
he
then
he can only fit 2 of them.
Okay, so that gives us 24 cars.
Yeah,
That's all right.
Isn't Andretti? Isn't that part of McLaren already, Johnny? Like
No.
with the V8s, isn't
No, that's-
Walkinshaw?
Walkinshaw, Andretti United.
Isn't that
there's
with Zach Brown?
there's a partnership there, but it's not a racing partnership. It's just I think it's a
Sponsorship thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a business partnership.
is
not a-
Andretti in IndyCar?
Yes.
Yes.
So what engine supply do they use there?
Chevrolet?
Chevrolet.
So,
Chevrolet and
Do you reckon maybe they'll start looking that direction to try and get an engine through there?
well, there's been photos put up of Michael Andretti meeting up with the head of Renault, and that's how the sort of story broke a couple of months ago. That I think Mario Andretti got on Twitter and said Andretti Global Motorsport has submitted an entry in for F1. And then a photo was put up of Michael meeting with the head, like the guy behind Renault, like the head of Renault. And so everyone's gone off. They come in say 2024, they're going to be running Renault engines. Purely because they're the one team that only has one team to supply at the moment. Whereas Mercedes, they can't supply another team because they've got 4 teams. Ferrari's got 3. And RBR, like they're only running 2, but I don't think they can run more than 2 because it's a small operation, really.
Yeah.
So it leaves with Renault. But I think because Andretti's had ties with Porsche in the past, I think 2026, if Porsche comes in, they'll go with Andretti.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'd just be good to get them in there, like more cars and more engine suppliers. That's what we want from this point.
I
Yep.
reckon Penske's gonna chuck a finger in there.
Yeah, well, apparently Andretti tried to buy Haas, and Gene Haas wouldn't sell. And that's when they got the Mazepins in. Penske at some point has got to sit there and go, you know what, fuck it. We want to compete against Andretti, against Gene Haas, and show we're the best on that platform.
How
And
does
especially now with, sorry Barry, but especially now with 3 races in
In
the
America.
American
Yeah.
region, you know.
Now your market's even bigger than
yeah,
it
it's
already
only
is.
going to grow. If you're an American team, now is the time to jump in, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 direct American races, plus Mexico and Canada.
Yep.
That's 5 races in that region.
How does
Yeah.
everyone feel about a Ford engine coming into it?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you
I mean,
reckon
I
I
they'll
would
come
be
and
happy if
perform?
Great Wall came in. I just want to see more engine suppliers. You know? I want to see more differences up and down the grid. You know?
Let's not get fucking crazy.
Because if Penske comes in, I reckon he'll bring a Ford. He's got Ford with everything, so I reckon he'll come through. And is it him or Andretti that's bought Indianapolis? One of them bought the
Penske.
Penske,
Yeah.
bought the actual racetrack. So he's definitely got the money behind him to do
Yeah.
what needs to be done.
I mean,
Well, he had the money to put a bid in to get a team in, so
well, I mean, everything that Penske has been in, they've been successful. I mean, there was Penske, Dick Johnson Racing,
Yeah.
Yep.
Penske's NASCAR team, Penske's IndyCar team.
Yep.
Well, just look at the Indy cars. Scotty McLaughlin won the first round, came second, just got pipped by, was it his teammate that he got done by
Yeah, I think so.
on the thing? So Penske's like first, second in the first and second round, straight up at the Indy cars. So the amount of experience and money and power that he can bring into something worldwide like this, I reckon it's a good look for them to do.
Yeah.
yeah, I think if they're going to do it, they're going to have to look at it soon. With, as we just said, 3 races in America. Haas are actually performing well now. Andretti's put a bid in. If they want to compete in that market, they want to look at it soon, or they might get left behind by, you know, the Haas and Andretti market.
Yeah.
And now is the time, as a, you know, American supplier, to jump on to gather your fan base going further.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And if anything, now I reckon R&D for them to go ahead and do it, even though they're not in it. Maybe put forward their own car and do testing while the market is new. Like this is
Yeah.
the first year these new cars are out, so why not start developing if you're going to plan on doing that, developing a car now, put it out and try to match what they can do. Like, they can get all these test sessions at the Americas. They can get test tracks. They can do that and then find out what lap paces these cars are doing and then go out there, do a private test session and see if they can match it with what they've got now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, as you're just saying, like, if they're going to jump in, start doing all the like everything now, like you're saying, start developing, start putting it out there that you're coming in, do all the marketing, do everything to push the fact that you're coming into Formula One to start building your fan base. Why it's going to be hot, like
do it while it's
with
fresh.
Vegas coming in next year, that's going to be the hottest talk of the year. That race, and if like we're just saying, just get in now if they're going to. If not, then leave it to Andretti and Haas and what other team feels like coming in. But
and Stefano Domenicali, the guy who runs F1, he said a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, that for the new Concord agreement, which I think they've got to sign at the end of 2024, I think it is, or something, he wants there to be room enough that they can have 30 races in a season.
Yeah.
I think 30 races is a bit much.
I think
it's going to burn some people out, man.
Yeah. What are we at now? 23?
23.
I would be happy with 25.
Yeah.
I think 25 is enough. 25 and 24 to 26 cars on the grid, I'd be quite happy with F1.
Yeah.
What are you guys all for? Happy with
25, as long as the new tracks they bring in are not Herman Tilke disaster pieces.
My way would looking at it would be 25 races a year, maybe 20, maybe 26. Absolutely pushing it if you had to even it out to 26 for, say, one continent got 2 races or whatever. So 25 to 26 cars on the grid, and 24 to 26 cars on the grid, and 2 races at most per country. So, I mean, at the moment we've got 3 for America. I understand it's a growing continent, but I would rather see them have 2 and 1 go to, say, South Africa.
Yeah.
Another market that needs to grow, I would rather that than go, let's chuck so much eggs in one basket and have 3 races. And I understand it's a giant market, but to me, 2 should be enough. Like, start throwing that extra race to another market that we need to grow. Because 2 is enough, in my opinion, to allow the sport to grow.
But saying that, is them throwing all these races to America, is that throwing out a bit of bait to try and drag all of these big-name American companies like Andretti and Penske, is that trying to drag them into the sport? Because it's like, well, we're in America now. How about you join us?
I think it's a combination of trying to get, like, your Penske's and your Andretti's, but also to try and get more sponsors from America.
I think it's also just a ploy to get more fans, and with their success with Netflix Drive to Survive, I think they've realised they gained a lot of... they would have all these statistics and numbers behind the scene and see the viewership coming out of America, and they would look at that and go, hey, here's a market. Oh, Drive to Survive, Netflix documentary is probably huge in the States. Let's actually start putting Formula One there. Like, it's all got to do with money. Like you're saying, it would be partly to drag American sponsors, American teams, but most importantly, it'd be to get those American fans. There's 300 odd million people in America. It's a massive market. That's what they're going for.
Like, talking about Drive to Survive, even though it's off the topic, it's amazing how many people that series has dragged into Formula One. The amount of people here in Mactown that I've spoken to, and they're like, oh, have you watched that Drive to Survive? I've never watched Formula One, but this makes me want to watch it. And you go, well, yeah.
It's why I'm here. I mean, I've always, when I say followed Formula One, I would know the results. I would know what's happening. But once we went through that period of Hamilton, I was just bored. I wasn't a major, fan of Formula One. But then I watched Drive to Survive, and it
just shows you the back
pieces. It showed me so much more, which I'm glad Formula One did, because we needed that. We needed something else than just watching Mercedes and Hamilton win. And now, I'm fucking fan number 1, and I'm here for the rest of my life. I'm a Formula One fan the rest of my life, no matter what happens. And I'm sure that's done that to a lot of other people that might have not even watched a Formula One race in their life before. I was on the Edge fan. It's probably dragged people in that've never even been a motorsport fan before. Like, to me, I think Drive to Survive is the best sport documentary we've ever seen in terms of engagement, actually following the sport, that's just my, I watch a lot of those as well. Like, there's a lot of soccer ones. I can't remember what they're called at the moment. The NFL ones, Johnny, do you remember what they're called?
Yeah, the Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Hard Knocks are unreal. They're unbelievable. But to me, Drive to Survive is the best sports documentary out there, and that's why we're seeing such popularity with Formula One. It's viewership's through the roof.
It's really because Will Buxton. It really is.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Okay, so now we're going to debut a new segment. It's called Longhorn Says.
All right.
I'm going to give Longhorn a subject, and he's going to speak his mind. And this week's subject is Lance Stroll.
Here we go. So I only found out I'm doing this just before the race, but I don't need any preparedment to give this guy what I have to say about him. Where do I fucking start? My favourite aspect of Formula One, once again, boiling my piss, is fucking paid drivers that can't fucking drive. Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll out here auditioning for fucking Bird Box 2. Someone tell him his mirrors aren't fucking painted on. My God, man. The amount of times I've watched you just not look in them, like, they're not a fucking extra feature. They're fucking for you to use. You fuck. Jesus Christ. Oh, watching that crash in qualification, which if you're listening to this, I'm sure you've all seen, but I'm a Williams fan. Watching Latifi crash at first, I thought, oh my God, here we go again. Like, 4 crashes in 4 races. Get the guy out because he's another guy. Just paid driver, can't drive. Get out the sport.
And they're both Canadians.
They're both Canadians. I don't care how friendly you think they are. They can't fucking drive. Get out the sport. Get out. Like, I want to see people who can drive with talent and some persa-fucking-ality. You listen to Lance Stroll after the accident. They're interviewing him. Oh, what do you think happened? And he's going, I'm Canadian. Shut up. Get out. Like, fucking have some balls to just go, I fucked up, or talk about it. He's sitting there going, oh, the track gets really skinny. That you turned into him. Fucking doesn't matter how skinny it gets, you idiot. You turned into him because you can't look in your freaking mirrors. Oh, man, I'm so off him. And just a thought, I had just a race ago, or 2 races ago, whatever it was, I was a little bit on him because he knocked Hamilton out in Q3, and I was like, yes, Stroll. Nah, you're in my fucking bin for good. You're never coming out. Get out of Formula 1. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to watch you for like the next 10 years because Daddy owns the bloody team. But let's hope Latifi's out by the end of the year because, gosh, we need a different driver. And I don't care how friendly he is because he can't fucking drive. And we're going to have no money left to put into the next year's car because Latifi's going to fucking make us spend it all on repairing his car every week.
Yeah.
So, my rant is about paid drivers that can't fucking drive like Lance bloody Stroll. Learn to look in your mirrors. Learn to drive. I mean, even this race, he got a penalty for freaking weaving down the front straight. For fuck's sake. Like, what are you doing, man? We know you can't drive. You can't do tactics like that just to gain 12th position. Like, my God, man, you're never winning anything. You're not talented. Your dad just owns billions of dollars. That's the only reason you're here. Get out the sport.
Use some of your daddy's dollars and pluck your fucking eyebrows.
His dad is a fashion magnate.
Oh, fucking Lance Stroll isn't. I tell you that now.
Look at his eyebrows. It's like caterpillars crossing his fucking forehead.
You can just tell, like, he's been grown up in such wealth that he's never had to do anything in his life. He's developed absolutely zero personality. He doesn't even know how to respond to questions because he's just like, I don't know what everything's done for me in my life. I don't know what to do. Like,
I don't know why people so hate me so much. Because you're a fuckhead.
Oh, he is. He's a fuckhead and a terrible driver. So get out the grid. There's only 20 spots in this grid, and I want to see them take up by the best talent. And unfortunately, money talks in Formula 1, so we're going to get a certain rate of drivers that... I mean, drivers get there based on... you've got to have money to get in Formula 1 anyway, right? So I understand that. But I want to see the guys there. If you're there, you need to have the pedigree to win races if you're in the right car. Stroll does not have that. Stroll has zero pedigree. Get out the sport.
Very much so.
All right. So now we're going to go through the drivers' standings in the championship now. So coming first and leading the championship is Charles Leclerc on 71 points for Ferrari. Second place is George
Georgie!
George fucking Russell.
37
37 points for Mercedes. Third place is Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari on 33 points. Fourth place is Sergio Perez for Red Bull Racing on 30 points. Fifth is Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes on 28 points. Sixth is defending world champion Max Verstappen in the Red Bull Racing on 25. Seventh is Esteban Ocon in the Alpine on 20 points.
That's consistent. That's very consistent for him to be up there still.
Nah.
He's doing all right.
Eighth place is Lando Norris in the McLaren Mercedes on 16 points. Ninth is Valtteri Bottas, the adopted Australian for the weekend.
How good was his helmet, by the way? Did you all see his helmet?
It looked quite good.
The beach helmet was pretty sick.
His missus is Aussie, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, that explains it. She's like, whip, make your helmet mine.
So Valtteri Bottas was in ninth, driving for Alfa Romeo. He's on 12 points, and he's tied with Kevin Magnussen in Haas, who's also on 12 points. In 11th is Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren with 8 points. Pardon me. 12th place is Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri with 6 points. Pukki Tsunoda is in... Pukki Tsunoda is in 13th on the AlphaTauri.
Is that the new one we're going with? Is it Pukki Tsunoda?
Pukki Tsunoda. 14th is Fernando Alonso in the Alpine on 2 points. 15th is G.I. Zhou Guan Yu in the Alfa Romeo with 1 point. Tied also with Alexander Albon in the Williams with 1 point.
Come on, boys!
17th is Nico Hulkenberg in the Aston Martin, tied with Mick Schumacher in the Haas. Sir Crash a lot, Lance Stroll.
Oh, I mean, this ties into my point. He's behind Hulkenberg, who's had 2 races out of years out the sport.
And Nicholas Latifi.
Or get out, both of you.
And Sebastian Vettel with 0 points. That makes you really sit there and go, what the fuck's wrong with the Aston Martins when the Williams has got more points? And then we get to the constructors. Ferrari is ahead on 104 points, followed by Mercedes on 65 points. I don't know how. Third place is Red Bull Racing with 55 points. Fourth place is McLaren with 24 points.
That's actually more surprising to me.
Yeah.
Seeing McLaren in fourth.
Fifth place is Alpine with 22 points. Sixth is Alfa Romeo with 13 points. Seventh is Haas with 12 points. I mean, these two teams were fighting for fuck all last year.
Yeah, these were the two teams we thought were going to be fucked this year as well, and look at them go.
They looked it. Yeah.
Eighth place is AlphaTauri on 10 points. Ninth, with 1 point, is fucking Williams, and then coming dead fucking last on 10 with not a sausage to their name and a massive repair bill. Aston Martin.
Same as Williams, massive repair bill, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but they got a point.
We won the Aston Martin Williams first to point sweepstakes, so that's going to be my one thing for the year. Woo!
You're up there.
Winner, chicken dinner.
All right. So, in 2 weeks' time, we have got the Imola F1 race from Imola in San Marino in Italy. The death place of Ayrton Senna.
Yes.
Not God. That's the Michael.
Well, we're not going to have this debate
We're
now.
not starting
We've
this
had
fight now.
I know. I said that to poke the bear.
I did put this poll up. Just a quick plug for us as well. We're also on Twitter now, at the F1 chat. We have a poll up at the moment. I think it's still there, but the poll is essentially which driver you're taking on the day, and the 3 to vote for is Senna, Schumacher, and Hamilton.
You can delete Hamilton. No one cares.
We all know he comes third, but I had to put
Yeah.
him in there for something, you know.
Yeah, that's what his girlfriend says as well. He comes third.
Does he have a girlfriend?
I do like this new rule where all the drivers have to get all their piercings taken out and all their earrings and shit
And
taken
Lewis
out.
Hamilton just basically told him to fuck off. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Max
he
has to take his nipple piercings out.
Yeah, they were saying that even just before. They're like, oh, it must be like a 3-race buffer or something like that, because Hamilton's there clear with all of his ear piercings, just like putting his helmet on. It's like, yeah,
And he's got his assistant poking his hair under his racing suit because he's got dreadlocks now. And you're like, oh, fucking Jesus. And then he's bitching through the race, like, oh, the strategy didn't work for me. Why am I behind Russell?
You put me in a bad
Yeah,
position.
you put me in a bad position. Shut the fuck
Drive
up.
better and get pole, for fuck's sake.
Why did the safety car come out now? Could have waited like 4 laps.
Didn't
Like,
we pay Latifi?
Yeah. That's exactly what I was about to say. How do we get Latifi on our paybook? For God's sake.
Right. So, 2 weeks' time, Imola. We're going to be back. It's going to be a little bit not quite straight after the race. But, so, Barry, this was your first crack at the F1 chat. How was it?
It was fun. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're going to make a return journey?
Oh, I will. Depends on what work fucking allows me. Stupid bastards.
You can be like a roaming reporter type
I will.
person.
I'll be like the random drop-in. Just tell everyone, be like, I'm here to fuck shit up. So fuck yes.
You just run in and go, suck shit, bitches! Flip us all off and then run back out the door.
Walk in with my esky full of beer and feed you all piss and be like, yeah, I'm out. See you.
Yeah, peace out, bitches.
Good, so I'll see you in a week.
It's public holiday. Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
There's nothing on next week.
Except
No,
Friday.
when it happens, it's all public holidays leading up to it. The next
Fuck.
3 weeks are public holidays, the
We
Mondays.
can watch Imola
Ooh, we're going to do another livey.
It's going to be on at like midnight.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, I'm not doing
I don't know. I might have to do a shit that time of night, but besides that, I'm pretty keen.
it. I'm sure we can pause the podcast. We've already done it. We did it.
We've done it like 3 times.
Done it multiple times
Fucking
tonight.
hell. We could be doing a midnight podcast, lads.
This is exciting. Live podcasts.
Fucking hell. Might have to pull out the slow cooker, Johnny, and do up a brisket and bring it over.
I've got a barbecue here.
Oh,
You know what? We might even have to do one race. One race this year, if we can get a livey. Actually do a live recording while we watch the race.
while we watch a race. That'd be something cool.
Live stream.
That's something different, yeah.
We could try something like that.
Or just a podcast of us watching it. They can go up straight
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
after.
The reaction pod, yeah.
Yeah.
Could do it.
Something
All right.
interesting for the
It would
fans out there.
it would totally be unfiltered. The amount of swear words and
A whole podcast is unfiltered. Did you
Um,
not hear my new segment?
Have you been listening?
Did you not hear the end of season thing where I ranted about Lewis Hamilton?
I make sure I put explicit when I upload it on Spotify.
Yeah, I make sure on YouTube I tick not for kids.
oh.
You know,
You fucking dumb cunt, man. Just fucking listen.
But I don't
Fuck.
you
understand.
sounded like Al Pacino from Glenn Ross or whatever it is, where he's sitting there and he's like, "Why don't you learn your trade, you stupid idiot, you cunt?"
You sounded like Sergio Perez's engineer when he asked him what happened to Max.
Shut
I was
up.
like, you shut up! You take Max's name out your fucking mouth! He's just like, I just want to know what happened.
He pulled his profile face.
Oh, what did you think of that, by the way? They're just probably just like, that is irrelevant. Like, you do not ask us. Like, we were making fun of it, but what do you guys actually think of that? Like, is that strange to you? Like,
For
It's
me,
a bit cunty. Like,
for
to
me,
be so defensive, like, he's his
Yeah.
teammate. Like,
yeah.
I think,
Perez knows he's number 2.
I think they'll just like, just pay attention to what you're doing, mate. Don't worry about what he's doing. Just pay
Yeah.
attention to what you're doing.
It's
Yeah,
not
we need
relevant to our
points.
car. I'm like, well, if it's a power unit failure, it's relevant to my fucking power unit.
Yeah.
It's relevant to the fucking championship.
Yeah. They're trying to probably make him not be thinking that the same thing is going to happen in his car. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Could
fair
you
enough,
imagine
but-
driving though, and then you see your teammate doing that shit, and then you would just be on edge. You'd be looking, you'd be barely paying attention to the race. You'd be staring at your steering wheel, at every little bit of data that's coming through, and if something's like the tiniest point out, going, "Fuck, is that what's wrong?"
Well,
like, what?
if you were driving a Williams, you wouldn't be staring at your steering wheel because they're so backward. They've still got the screen mounted to the bodywork
We need to find out why they're still there.
because
Like,
they're
why they
set
do it.
in the 1990s, man. It's just
Back when we won races.
put the fucking thing on the steering wheel for Christ. They're using the same steering wheel they've used for like 10 years.
They need to save the money for Latifi's bodywork. So they can't afford to spend it on steering
yeah, but
wheels. They need to just mount it.
Yeah, but McLaren signed a deal. All their steering wheels are supplied by Logitech.
Oh,
So why can't they get one of the other gaming mobs to
Surely.
make them a steering wheel?
Well, every other team has it built in their steering wheel, but for some reason they don't. Like,
Okay.
Williams,
not a
sponsored
hard
by Dollars and Cents.
I got the Silly Sully's brand steering wheel.
They got the classic driving game where it's just one continuous loop, keep going. You just got to like put your car and it's on like left to right. I'm not going to hit the tree. I'm not going to hit the tree.
My force feedback feels funny, guys.
I was just sitting there thinking, right, every other team, like McLaren's got a great, that Logitech steering wheel. And fucking Williams are driving with a PlayStation control pad.
a joystick with a rumble pack.
Pulled out the old Atari keypad, just like me.
Just a
I'm
joystick.
destroying this race.
It's an analog stick with one fire button like a Commodore 64. And they got the computer in front of them. They got to hit the space bar to change gear.
How unnerving would that be at 300 kilometres an hour?
The computer would run out of processing power just changing gears.
You locked up a wheel. I don't know how. I have no control over my brake. It's on or off.
Ball is in parking lot.
Or it's just the rig from like the Daytona arcade game.
Yeah.
Where it's a steering wheel and four-shifter thing. That's it. And as they're driving along, you hear them, Daytona!
Insert coin to continue. Fuck's sake, it's only lap 3.
Sorry, we had to spend it all on Latifi's repairs. We don't have any more money.
Get to the end of the race, like a crash out. You just see it, GAMEOVER. Game over, game over, game over, game over. Insert coin to play again.
Start raging, do a 7, just steal some poor bastard scooter outside and just fucking take off.
Like
Probably
Sebastian
quicker.
Vettel.
Probably quicker than Latifi on a good
I bet
day.
that scooter could do 57 laps on like fucking... Carlos Sainz is fucking 1.5 laps and Max Verstappen did like 50.
He had gaming lag. He come to that corner and he glitched out, and that was it. He went a bit wide, hit the grass.
That was such a weird crash.
It was terrible.
He was racing with Momos.
Yeah.
That's who he was.
Considering when you seen the V8s, and there was in that last race, there was probably at least a good 6 or 7 cars that went through there, and not one of them had traction problems.
Yeah.
They all just straight lined it through there. It's almost as if they come to practice and went, "We're going to practice going through this corner because we fucking need it."
Yeah.
And then he come to it and is like, "I'm going to turn towards the track," and then just lost the arse end.
Yeah.
And then who was it? Someone else went across there afterwards, but they
Kevin
straight.
Magnussen.
Yeah, he straight lined it. He actually come
He,
out alright.
he had the medium he had the mediums on, so he had a bit more grip.
Which probably saved him in the end.
Yeah.
Should have had the 4-wheel drive tread on him. Could have had wets on. He might have made it through there.
God, you're making this sound like it's Mission Impossible 2 with the motorbikes at the end.
Yeah.
You watch the motorbikes at the end of that movie. They go through every set of different tyres in that motorbike chase. Like they're riding on the grassy bit, and it's got just regular tyres. They're on the road, it's got more slick tyres. And then when they're on the sand, they got full-on knobby tyres from a dirt bike on them. And you can clearly see they're changing the tyres at each different scene. You're like,
What are you doing? Is this like your replacement for your Fast and Furious
oh, here we
trivia
go.
every race? Now you're like, Mission Impossible. I've got something to say about that.
I love in the fourth Fast and Furious movie where they're in the car and they're trying to drive away from the truck, the tanker, and he's slamming it into another gear. And you look at it and go, it's a fucking auto. What the fuck are you doing? It's a fucking auto.
Tiptronic, man.
It's a piece of shit auto. They're just slamming the gearbox in. It's like you're not changing gears. You're going from D to 2.
Why do they have to make like 900 gear changes in like a 300-meter straight? I don't know why my distant Skyline's got a fucking truck gearbox, but someone should get fired for this fucking 16-speed fucking gearbox.
It's the world's longest fucking airport ever.
Fuck,
As
man.
the runway goes from the bottom of Portugal all the way to the top of Russia, because by the time the movie's ended, they're finally taken off. It got to the end, it's fucking 28 minutes late.
And then about 3,000 gear changes on an automatic gearbox. Because we just got to keep slamming that gear shifter down. Because that's highlights. Oh, we're changing gears. We're going faster now. No, you're fucking not.
I'm sitting at 6,000 RPM ready to change gear up, but no, I need to overtake someone, so I've got to drop it down a gear and just destroy my fucking gearbox, make everything just disappear, just so I can get around someone. Bullshit.
Right.
What a load of bullshit.
I have 2 unlimited tanks of nitrous, though.
Yeah.
This thing's never going to run out. All right.
So we're going to call it there. Thank you, Barry, for joining in.
No worries. Was a pleasure.
You want to say goodbye, John, for you?
Yeah, I'll see you later. We'll see what Imola holds in 2 weeks, and go McLaren.
Longhorn?
Yeah, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Quick little plug for us again. Check us out on Spotify and YouTube at the F1 Chat. And, of course, we are on Twitter now at the F1 Chat. So, yeah, check us out. Get engaged. Give us a like, subscribe, whatever. Pass us on to your friends. That'd be great. And thanks for listening.
And
wait up. Sorry, Phil Ping. Just a heads up there, Brody.
It's Longhorn.
Oh, Longhorn. Whatever. What's our viewership looking like now? Because we had someone, was it in Norway or Denmark
quick,
or something?
Shout out to, I think it was Belgium. We had a couple of listeners in Belgium, mostly Australia, and a couple of listeners in America. So
yeah, nice.
if you somehow accidentally come across us and listen, if you're in Belgium and you are actually listening to us and it wasn't an accident, you're my man.
I should actually mention that my grandmother was Flemish. She was from Belgium.
Oh. Yeah, weren't you telling us just the other week your family history?
Mm.
There's a Leclerc in there somewhere of French Canadian descent.
Yeah, my grandfather. I think it was my grandfather and my great grandfather on my mum's side, because my mum's maiden name is Clark, and when they moved to Australia, their name was actually Leclerc. And when he moved to Australia, he wanted to sound more Australian, so he changed it from being Leclerc to just Clark with an E on the end. So, yeah. And my grandmother on my dad's side was from Belgium.
Right.
And my dad's dad was a British soldier. Yeah,
Cool.
So
he potentially could be related somewhere to Charles.
I could be related to fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme. I could be related to him, Charles Leclerc,
Who knows?
fucking Nicholas Latifi, fucking Lance Stroll.
Fuck, that's unfortunate. Should've gone there.
Fuck, at this rate, I could be related to fucking DeCrasherus.
Hit up Leclerc and be like, I'm your long lost cousin. Give me some free merch, you bastard.
Give me some loving, bro. Get me in the team, bro.
You're in
Get me
Australia. Why
backstage.
don't you come to Mackay? Come say good day while you're here. Fly your jet up. I'll pick you up from the airport. Don't mind the roadworks. Fuck it.
I'll be your strategist for the team, man. I'll take over. I'm here. I've arrived. All right. Well, on behalf of everyone on the F1 chat, thank you for tuning in. Like Longhorn said before, ring the bell, subscribe, send us money, donate your firstborn, buy us a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee, so don't buy me a
Beer.
cup of
I
coffee.
actually had
Buy us
Lavazza,
beer.
bought Lavazza, and your mum's, it's really good.
Yeah.
Lavazza's really good.
Yeah.
I'm following your trend by going for all the sponsors of Williams.
Yeah.
So, I tried Lavazza coffee, and it's actually really, really good. So,
Yeah, well, I tried sending shit through UPS, and that didn't quite work as well. So, but that's all right. UPS doesn't sponsor Ferrari anymore. I got my new shirt on its way. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you in 2 weeks' time for the Imola F1. Until then, it is goodbye.